资源、齐全的功能等您来。500多个精品开示和精彩直播可供观看，影片、文字、音档。
李德传家很久了。
You can also download to your own app so that you can listen to it offline. The topic covers your life wisdom, your family relationship, your personal growth, and also for youth. And there's Q&A. Every day there is the aphorism to give you the daily guidance. You can also record your practice and also your gains from daily practices. There's also Grandmaster Jimbodi's energy blessing to give you, empower you and bless you. And every minute of this app will help you to become a better self.
各位亲爱的网友朋友，大家好。
Hello, everyone.
我们有没有人曾经一次或若
Has
干次
anybody,
没有发现说
maybe once or even several
你在
times
睡到床上去之后，
after
有发现
you
自己被压住，
went to bed, you feel
动不了，
like you were
又喊不出声
covered
音来，
and
连个
you
手指
cannot
都不会动，
move, and even your
但是你
fingers
特别
cannot
想醒
move,
过来，
and you
知道
really
好像
wanted
说
to
你
wake
的
up.
神识是清醒的，就是我要起来，我要
It's
睁开
like
眼，
that
我要动。
you
但就是
you
动不
have
了。
the conscious and
好
you
像
are
呼吸
very
都卡
clear
住了一样。
minded, but you cannot
那
move
么还
and
有
you
呢，就是
couldn't
说
even
甚至
breathe, and
看到
some
这个有个影子，黑乎乎的
even
影子，就
can
压到了自
see
己身上，
a
但是
shadow
非常的
covering on your
痛
body,
苦，
and
非
it's
常不舒服，
quite
就是
miserable, very
好像
uncomfortable,
就好像这个胸部被一
as
个大
if
石头压住一
your
样。
chest
哎，
is
那
pressed by a
还
big
有呢，就是说
stone.
有的是连续几次
And some
做
people
同样
even
的或者
experience
类似这样的梦。
several times
那么还有人
continuously,
就是在
and
这
some
个睡房里头偶尔看
maybe
见
in their bed
一个黑影，
in their
飘忽忽的一个
bedroom
影子。
they saw
如果
a
没看清
shadow
脸，这还好啊。
maybe flowing.
其实
If
恐怖的是
you
怕你看清了
couldn't
脸，
see their face,
这个
it's
影
actually
子还是
better.
真实，
The
但是
more
又是可
horrible
怕，
would be that
又
you
是恐怖
see
的。
the face, and it's very, yeah,
呃，
very
那么有
scary.
黑影子，当然也有的叫白影子，
And
但看到
sometimes
黑
it's a
影子的比较多。
dark shadow.
白影子比较少。
Sometimes it's a white shadow,
所以
like
在你的家里，
usually
在
it's
睡
dark
房里，
shadows though.
甚至是有时
So
候
in
住
your
旅馆
bedroom
啊
or
住
sometimes
旅
in a
馆，其实
hotel
旅馆
room,
是更容易有这
well,
种。
it's actually more likely to
所以有的
happen
人
in
说
a
住旅
hotel
馆的
room.
时候，
So
通
that's
常不会
why
选择哪一种屋
those
子，
people
你们俩知
who
道吗？
those people don't. Do you know who which hotel room you don't want to
把头
pick?
的，
Like at the
哎，
end
就是说
of
你看
the
你从这一头
corridor.
坐电梯
Say
上
for
来了，
example,
结
you
果呢，一直往里
take
走，有
the
20-30间房子到最里头的
elevator
最里
and
最
then
底端的，
you
就像
go
瓶子
to
的
the
底部一样
end
的
of
一间
the
房子。
corridor, like the
就
end
通常是
of
这样的房
like
比较
the
容易
bottom of
藏
the
阴
bottle,
气。
and those
啊，
rooms
这
would
我们
have
网友朋友也
more
要记住这一点
yin
哈。说
energy
如
or
果你住
yin
旅馆
qi. So
啊，
our
那
online
你要
friend,
如果
please
房子
remember
有
if you
选择
go
的话，
to a
就是
hotel
不
room,
选
if you
择
can
靠这个
have the option
最
of
里面
different
那个
rooms, then
那个
do
房子，
not pick the
但是
one
也
that
分
is
你的
at the
能量、
end
运
of
气、
the corridor,
能
and it
量
also
啊。那
depends on
我
your
要住旅馆，
energy
我
and your
就没什么
fortune.
选择，有
Usually,
房住就可以，
I
只要能
when
活得
I
下
go
去，
to a
也
hotel,
无所
I
谓。
well, I don't
嗯，
really mind, and as long as
那
there's a
大家
room
慢
for
慢
me,
听
I
啊，
don't
慢
care.
慢学
And so
啊。我们
listen
先有一个
carefully.
小文的故事。对对
So first,
好，感
there's
恩
a
师傅。
story of
在
Xiaowen.
中国的
Okay,
西
thank you,
南哈
Grandmaster.
有一
So
个
it
省
was
叫贵州，
in
那
south
块呢有一片区域
west
呢就是
of
侗族人
China.
居住的啊。侗
And
族
so
是
there's
中国的一
the
个少数民族。
minority Dong.
侗族这
So
个
this
地
is a
方呢，还
minority
保留
in
了一些
China,
民间的
and
信
then
仰，
they
民间的
still
这些
have
习
some
俗啊。
religion
这个
and
故事就发生在这里。那我们的主
rituals
人公
or
呢，是一个
culture
20多
over
岁的
there.
姑娘，
And
小
so
文。
the main
她呢
character
虽然是
is
从
a
小生
young
长在这个
girl,
老家，
like
但
over
是她后
20
来
years
去
old,
读
even
书
though
啊、
she
工作呀，
grew
就已
up
经
in the
搬到县
countryside,
城
but
里去
then
了。
she
对，那年
went
轻
to
人的
school
话哈，
and
现在的
start
年
to
轻人
work
一般都
in
不是
the
不
town.
再相信那些传统
Usually
的那些古
now
老的那些
the young people don't really remember or believe so much in these traditions or religious rituals. And so once she was off for several days and she went back to her hometown and she was sleeping in a room, and suddenly, after she fell asleep, she suddenly felt like chest was congested, and then she couldn't move, and she wanted to escape from it, but she couldn't, and she wanted to hold the side of the bed and so she can escape or sit up, but she couldn't. And at the time, her heart was beating rapidly and almost out of the chest, and so she was so scared. And at that time, she saw a very dark shadow, like pressing her, and she was so scared, and she didn't know how long it took, and all of a sudden she sat up and she felt that the dark shadow finally left her, and finally she can breathe, and she can move. And the next day and even the third day, she experienced that again and again. And so this is what we call like the sleep paralysis. And it was like continuously 3 days, and she couldn't sleep, and she was so scared she didn't even dare to sleep. And she thought, no, I have to go back to the town. What is it? It's like, but her family says, no, don't go back to the town. Before you go there, we need to give you some treatment before you go back to work. And so she said, then how would you treat me? And so they have like a tradition that they would kind of release the evil, and so they would call the wizard to come. And well, Xiao Wen didn't really believe in that, but she knows that usually it's the seniors who would who would believe in those. But she, but the whole family was saying that, so she had to accept it, and so their family invited a wizard to come, and so he actually chanted some mantras and was doing some rituals and walk around her altogether 5 circles. Actually, it was very fast. Maybe just 1 or 2 minutes. And then he said, okay, that's fine. But Xiao Wen was thinking, what? You just walk around me for several circles and it's fine? But what is very, that night when Xiao Wen went to sleep, she was able to sleep through the night and didn't even have any dreams. And she was able to had a very good sleep. So that's very amazing. And so she started to think, really? That was like a night, a sleep paralysis, and there was ghosts coming, and after they do some rituals and it's all fine. So Grandmaster said, yeah, this is like for 3 days, maybe 3 days she didn't have a good rest. Master said maybe it's just like she was too tired and so she fell asleep. So Joyce said, well, we in our previous live stream that there were some of our students who had insomnia for like 15 years. They couldn't sleep well for like many years. And so I think that she was able to sleep well on the 4th day. It wasn't because like she just became too exhausted. And so let's go back to Xiao Wen, and there's another family also would like to invite the wizard to go, and so she was very curious and wanted to go and watch the whole ritual, and that family also need the help, and so this time, Xiao Wen saw that this wizard is Mr. Yang, and he also brought his partner. And so first he went to the wall and used some water to bless there, and then did some spells, and then he asked his partner to sit there and then use a towel to cover his face. And his partner, his hands would facing down, and then Mr. Yang would chant some mantras and also do some movements on top of his head, and then start to do some ritual. And then very quickly his partner started to shake and was thumping his feet even. And yeah, so at that time we think that they are already connected maybe to another spirit. And so this Mr. Yang talked to his partner, and so they had a conversation and was able to, through this conversation, to solve the problem of that family. And so Xiao Wen thought, oh, she was even more amazed by it, and she thought, oh, really? This looks even real. And so really, he helped me last time, and he helped this family again. Is it really? And so she asked the wizard to help her again. And then Mr. Yang very quickly agreed. And so he said, okay, well, I've already helped you once, so I can help you again. And so very quickly, he said, oh, you have 2 boyfriends and you don't like the first boyfriend, and actually the second one is actually better for you. When Xiao Wen heard this, she was very astonished to hear. She just started to fall in love with someone, and this is the privacy. She hasn't even told anyone in her hometown, not her parents or any family members. So there were 2 young men who was after her, and both of them love her, and so she was just at the time she didn't know which one to choose. And so this Mr. Yang already told her that, oh, you have 2 boyfriends and 2 young men, and the second one actually more suitable for you. And so when Xiao Wen heard that, she had to believe now. This wizard not only can help her dreams and sleep, and also he can even tell everything that's happening in her current life. And so this is quite amazing. So not only to be able to see the ghosts, and even your love, your affairs, whatever in your mind, he can read. And so Xiao Wen was very surprised and amazed. Well, we've never learned this in our school. At that time in the school, they would say, oh, they're cheating, right? So this, this actually has completely shaken her previous belief. And so this wizard not only solved her problem of the sleep paralysis, but also was able to see her privacy. So she had to believe. Okay, so Christine, could you tell us the story of Wu Xiangpo? That's also quite a legend. So that was also in the village. And so usually these psychic, they don't not only serve the people in their own village, but also they go to other villages. So Xiao Wen invited this Mr. Yang, and this Mr. Yang even had a partner, so they can work together to do some ritual. Maybe they will cover their head or arrange things like that. But for this Wu Xiangpo, she actually had stronger Dharma powers. Like she's even more powerful. She didn't need anything. She could directly talk to the spirit. And so this Grandpa Zhou is already 70 years old, and his mother has passed away a long time ago, and he missed his mother, so he invited Wu Xiangpo to help him because he heard that this Wu Xiangpo would be able to bring the message from his mother. And so this Grandpa Zhou didn't know whether it can be true. And so then Wu Xiangpo was very respectful. And first, she would offer some incense and do some worship, make some offerings. And then after all these rituals, she would enter into the state. And then she would start to, say something in her mouth and almost feel like the spirit has already been on her body. Oh, Yao Guilan, where your tomb is. And then she started to say something about Grandpa Zhou's deceased mother, where the tomb is, and the specific details of the tomb. And so Grandpa Zhou wanted to know how his mother is right now. He never told Wu Xiangpo about her tomb. But Wu Xiangpo was able to describe all the details of his mother's tomb, and so they didn't show anything. And then Wu Xiangpo continued to say, "Oh, your mother really liked to weave," and so Wu Xiangpo also showed some movements of weaving. And then Grandpa Zhou said, "Oh yes, my mother really loved weaving before when she was alive." And so Grandpa Zhou started to believe, and that really looks like my mother. And then Wu Xiangpo continued to talk more and more about his mother and his mother's special personality. And then this Grandpa Zhou said, "Oh, Mom, how are you over there?" And then Wu Xiangpo started to have the conversation with this Grandpa Zhou. And then Grandpa Zhou said, "Oh, Mom, how many children do you have?" And then Wu Xiangpo didn't even need to think and said, "Oh, I have 4. I have 4 kids. And so how many grandchildren?" And then Wu Xiangpo said, two grandchildren. So it's like one question with an answer, and so they're back and forth. And so Grandpa Zhou was convinced that this is his mother coming, because for such a psychic from another village, so these are all the details and private things of his family. Usually people nobody from outside of the village would know that. So now Grandpa Zhou was very convinced that this is his mother coming. And so whenever the villagers have any needs, then they would ask Wu Xiangpo to come and help. And so some people would say, "Oh, we don't have many villagers. Maybe this Wu Xiangpo has already prepared, and maybe she has already tried to do some investigation, so she already prepared." But they said no. So first of all, so for these psychic, they before she was invited to their family, they don't know what to prepare, because they didn't know who would invite them. And secondly, even if she wanted to prepare, and you don't know what they will ask. And so it's like a whole dictionary. So in your whole family, there are so many things happening before. So what should she prepare, right? So it all has to rely on her connection and these psychic connection. And so if she's only answering through observation, right? So then she would need to look at you, right? But in this connection state, Wu Xiangpo never need to see them, and she didn't even need to think, like she would answer so quickly. So it's like, how many children do you have? 4. So it's like so fast, so quick response. And so Grandmaster said, yes, that's very, it's impossible for her to prepare. And she's like not a neighboring villager or in the same village. She was from a very far away village. And so it would be impossible for her to know. And she didn't know who will invite her. She couldn't prepare, right? So it cannot be false. And just like Xiaowen, Xiaowen might think, oh, I've already been tired for 3 nights, so the 4th night would be good. But let me tell you, ever since that wizard helped to settle her soul, that she was able to sleep very well ever since. And so, because she still didn't fully believe, so she asked Mr. Yang to tell about her, future. So Wu Xiangpo is a very advanced psychic. And so Grandmaster, I'm also very curious. Some of our online friends, they also have had these kind of experience, like sleep paralysis. So Grandmaster said, yeah, this is very common. So this sleep paralysis, does it have something to do with ghosts? Grandmaster said, I think so. Yes, there's something to do. And so Christian said, so what exactly is the connection? So Grandmaster said, okay, we won't be able to explain it just in one sentence. And so we need to explain slowly. Well, if I say there is ghost, so you would think, oh, what does ghost look like? It's not like a cup. I can tell you, oh, this cup looks like this. So right now, there's someone who actually, her family member had a dream. Oh, okay. Hello, Grandmaster. This is actually something that my aunt has experienced. So it happened when my aunt was very young. She was not married, and so she was still in her mother's home, and she was having a nap, and she was staying in her own room and lying on her bed, and then she was in a like half sleep, half awake, and then she was opening her eyes, but she couldn't move and couldn't speak, and at the same time she was able to hear what her mother was chatting with others. And so in this kind of half asleep and half awake state, and so she suddenly felt like something was pinching her lower back, and so she wanted to escape, and so she was thinking, oh, I'll breathe in, and then I'll try to let air inside, and then, but when she did that, she wasn't able to breathe anymore, and so she had to relax, and then the force of the pinch noticed that she was not trying to escape, or and then the force was becoming smaller, and then she was able to touch her lower back, and she can feel like some nails was actually pinching her, and so she used all her force to break the nail, part of the nail, and so she was thinking, okay, after I wake up, I would be able to, maybe after I wake up, I'll be able to see the nail. Yeah. And yeah, so she was thinking after that, then she'll be able to see after she woke up. So it was all in her mind. Her room was very old and with the beams, and she could see that there is something like looked like a hedgehog and with very long hair, gray hair, and had very long nails, and she knows that it was that thing who actually pinched her. And after she saw that, she fell asleep again. After she woke up, she was able to move, and then she saw nothing around her, and she couldn't see the nail that she broke the nail before, and she also was able to hear what her mother was talking, right? And so she asked her mom, did you talk to your friends about these? And her mother said, yeah, I thought you were sleeping, and how did you hear all that I say? And then she said, why didn't you wake me up? Because I was pinched and so hard and so painful. And so this is Kelly and my colleague. Well, yeah, that looks like a ghost that actually was involved. But Grandmaster said, no, that's not a ghost. So she has a description of that. That's like an animal. So and she described that the chin was quite pointy and looked like a hedgehog, and has very long nails. So Grandmaster said, I heard that in the Chinese tradition, their description of ghosts, there is a kind of ghost that they call mei. Yeah, usually these ghosts will eat people's soul, and sometimes people will get addicted to that. It's the same Chinese character as, charisma also use the same character as that mei. It's like a spirit. An evil spirit. And the second guess is that this is not a ghost, it's just a spirit of an animal. Maybe they're not like a pig or fox or, not like the animals that human eyes can see. So it is not a life that human eyes can see. So Kelly, is this a story of your aunt, right? Well, at that time, she was only like in her 20s. And so she had this like half asleep, half awake. So she was still able to hear what her mother was talking, right? So Grandmaster said actually she was awake. Yeah. And so after the animal or the spirit pinched her waist, did she feel anything? Did anything happen after that? And so Kelly said, yeah, for when she was young, she didn't feel anything. And now she's older. And so now her right side of the lower back always have like a kind of pain. Where she had been pinched before, and even like the whole right side, even to the head. And so Grandmaster said maybe that actually brought some injury to her. Yeah. A lot of people who came to ask Grandmaster's help is that, I have this pain or something, and Grandmaster would say, this actually was because of something happened like a dozen years ago. And so Grandmaster says, now maybe your aunt may have some kind of issue with that animal or that spirit, especially hurt, some kind of hurting. Maybe because she was in the village before, and maybe you come in at home, you suddenly see a snake coming. Maybe because you are scared, then if you want to let the snake away, and the snake doesn't listen to you, right?
对
So
对
a
有
lot
些
of
拿个
people
棍子
in
铁
that
锹啊
case,
就会把它弄死
then maybe they will use
弄
a stick
伤
or
弄死
maybe something
对，就
to
是有可
to
能他们之
beat
间有过这样的
the
伤
the
害的
animal or
这
the
样的
snake or
因果。
something. Maybe
对
that is an animal that has some kind of issue with your
还
aunt,
是有
that
点可
kind
怕
of
的哈。
you
对，
know
所以就是说我们尽量少
harmful.
伤害生命
Some
哈。
they
对，
did some
因为它
harm
报
to
复
the
你之后
animal.
也
So
挺惨的。
now Grandmaster
对，
says,
像这个都
so
不算
we'll
很惨
try
的哈，
to
就是最后留下
to
个腰
give
痛嘛。
less harm or no harm to
对。
any other lives, because when they take
师傅，我再
revenge,
给
it
您
will
讲一
make
个
you
新加
very
坡的我们一个实事
uncomfortable.
件啊，
So
叫宋觉
um,
事件。他家里也是这样的情
there's
形。
another
哦。
Song Jue sister from Singapore has a story too. Actually, I know Song Jue before, and she is a very sweet lady and very lovely. Now she has already have 3 children, and she has a very happy life. And she wrote a letter to us to ask Grandmaster's help. And when she was like 15 or 16 years old, she always frequently experienced sleep paralysis, and then she would wake up in the middle of the night and her eyes would be open, but she couldn't move and even hard to breathe. When she finally regains movement, she'll have to take deep breaths, and she was so scared, and she had to sleep with her sister to be able to sleep better. And so she once she was sleeping on the sofa, and she dreamed of her aunt, who has already passed away, came over and stood by the sofa. In her dream, she knew that her aunt has already passed away, and she forced herself to wake up, but she couldn't. And her aunt was wearing red clothes and was holding the hand of a young girl. She didn't say anything, and then she left. After she left, so this sister Song Jue finally woke up and was able to move. And when she was 18 years old, she had a lot of disease, and she had especially the thyroid disease. And her aunt also has this disease before. She also had very severe anemia, and she had to go to the hospital for 5 days after a blood transfusion. And she was very lucky that at the age of 24, she encountered Bodhi meditation. Her health and her life was transformed, and she's now healthy and never had that sleep paralysis anymore. And so she recalled that her little girl that came to her dream with her aunt actually looks very similar to her second daughter. And her daughter Huang Maoqing is 4 years old and was born on the Mid-Autumn Festival in 2018. But ever since they moved to a new home last year, her second daughter started to have many friends visiting her in her room, and some likes to be human and some are animals. And she would say, oh, some are like octopus, and some are snakes, and some are pandas coming to play with me, she said. And so there was once that she was helping her daughter to change clothes, and then her daughter said, do you know where Si Hui has been to or has gone? And then her daughter looked past her shoulder and behind her, and it was like so scary. And sometimes her grandmother would change her clothes, and then the little girl would talk to her grandma, and then she would say, oh, grandma, don't change my clothes. Well, what if you die and then I won't be able to change clothes myself? For such a little girl to talk about that, it's kind of scary. And so her grandmother said, after I die, where would I go? And she said, don't worry, Grandma. After you die, Grandmaster would take you to the Buddha land with the lotus flower. And so her grandmother feels good because she would go to a good place. And yeah, so Sister Songjue has 3 children. All 3 are different, but the second daughter always says something that really confused the adults. And so Sister Songjue wanted to ask Grandmaster, is her daughter like a psychic? When she saw these friends who came to play with her, are they, what kind of life are they? And so Grandmaster said, let's discuss this. I think that this child has seen something that ordinary people won't be able to see, especially those, animals like octopus who played with her. And she even has a name like Si Hui, and we didn't see. But she said so for sure, and yeah, I don't think that she was imagining something. This sister has 3 children. They're in Singapore and they're in good financial situation. Do they have a lot of toys? Yes. In ordinary village, just every child might have some toys, and she has 3 children. And the relatives on their birthday might give her toys. So for 3 children, maybe they would have like hundreds of toys. So a lot of children would like those like Barbie, and then they will name this doll. That's possible. But for this girl, she's not talking about these dolls or toys, but she's talking about something else. That's why her parents are quite scared. Maybe this girl is kind of a little bit psychic. Maybe she can feel more than ordinary children, and so she has this kind of body, and especially for her conversation with her grandmother, we can see that she actually can connect with something. But for such a little girl, it would be hard to say whether she will become a psychic in her future. So usually for a little child before 7 years old, you can see on the top of their head, you can sometimes see the breathing, and because the scalp is not fully developed, and so and also kids before 7 years old, they are very pure and very easy to sense something that adults would be hard to feel. And so this child is really quite different. So Christine says, yeah, did the child see something that a lot of adults would not be able to see? Would that be like not very clean things, what they call not clean? So Grandma said, for everybody to grow healthily, usually the best is that if other people cannot see, if other people can see, you can see, and if other people cannot see, you won't be able to see. It's actually healthier. That's why most people would deny ghosts, because most adults won't be able to see occasionally. Yeah, it actually has something to do with different countries. When I grow up, I usually can talk to my, peers, but I cannot talk to those adults. But in Canada or the United States, you can tell everyone. But a lot of these stories are real stories. So
这种感应会变得少了。
in general,
但是
for
成年之后
adults
你
when they
我要
are
感应到一
when they
次的时
grow
候
up,
或者
very
感应
rarely
也好
would
或者
they
听见看见
see
也好
or
其实
or
你会
feel
非
something
常
like
地
this.
担
But
心
if you
害怕
occasionally see or
会被
feel
惊吓
something,
到
you would be
哎
scared.
所以的
You
话
would be
经
worried
常
a
看你
lot.
可能习惯了
And
就不害怕
if you
但是经
see
常
a
看到之
lot,
后
then
呢
you won't
你的
be
身
scared.
体
But
就
if
不
you
够那么好
see
是是是，
very frequently, then you won't
所
be
以这个妈妈也
very
担心她
healthy.
老是讲一些
So
就大人
this
看到的
mother
一些
is
东西
quite
啊
worried
其实
because
她
the
也是有这
little
种担心
girl
和忧
always
虑
say
就是说
something
她
like
需不
an
需要做一
adult.
点什么
And
事情来
so
帮助
does
这个
she need
宝
to
贝儿
do something to help her daughter?
帮帮她？
我们一般说的我说
Well,
这些无聊的话哈第一
So
个也叫功德
first,
第二个
to
呢
help her
可以
is
因为这个
through
孩子太小
merits
他没法
because
修
this
炼
little
对不
girl
对
is too young. She
他
won't be
有
able
机
to
会的话
practice.
帮
And
他收一收
if
有那样
there's an
功夫的人可以帮
opportunity,
他收一收
yeah,
就我们
if
又是疫情又
somebody
不方便
who
来回跑
can,
啊
well, we
对
we cannot
那
go there because of the
还有在
pandemic.
在
But
你家
if
这
she
屋里
can
头
ask somebody who have
或者
this
这个孩
power
子身上
to
要
sort of
放一些
remove
带一些
the
能够
the
避开这
spirit
些习
and
气的那些东西那些
also
宝物
maybe
可能
this
会对
little
孩
girl
子有
should
帮助
wear some
包括咱们
blessed
家里头有
gifts
时候
that
不太
can
那么平
you
静的时
know
候
to
啊
dispel
你偶
these
尔
evil
听到
spirit. And
和看到一
in
些你
also
确实
if
不该
your
看到的东西
your home
你会
you
怕嘛哈
you
所以就要
can
放
hear
一
or
些
see something
你
that
至
you
于说
shouldn't
辟邪
see,
镇宅的那个东
then
西
if you
啊
can have
辟邪镇宅
something
安神
to
我们不是现在有开放那个
dispel
有
the
个
evil
安心神的灯
spirits,
嘛是吧
yeah.
也是这个意思
So we
因为
also
是
have the light
佛告诉我感应到的有
to
这个大众
actually
有这个需
calm
求
the
所
mind
以我们就
because
设了这个
Buddha,
灯为大家消
well,
这个灾
we
哈
yeah
但是一般这个不
wanted
太
to
容易
help
做事
everyone, and
他你
that's
像
why
这个孩
we
子看到的这些感觉可能
arranged for
需要
this
需要做更多
calming
更强烈
the
的
spirit
其实还是
light
要
to
多
be
多
available.
对
Yeah, so most importantly is to have more merits. Yeah, so the mother would need
对
to
那否
offer
则
more
的话就
light
是我
for her.
们比如
Yes,
说以比较方便的话
Grandmaster
见到
says.
他给他把这个灵
If
感的这个
it's
门和眼睛封
convenient,
住
then
但
if
是
we
呢
can see
他可
her,
能
we
会出
can
现别的
close the
不舒服
door for her,
因为
but
为什
she
么
might
这
have
有
other
很多叫命运
discomfort.
使然
You
嘛
know, actually,
让他看到知道
sometimes
自
this
有
is
他的原
fate.
因
For her
对，
to
有警
be
示
able
你
to see,
我记得我们以
there
前
must
看
be
过
a
一个
reason
好
for
像也
that.
是讲一个小孩儿，他就是
So
有这
Christine
种
say, I've actually
比较阴
seen,
阳眼。
I've watched a movie
记得吧
like
就是
a little kid who has like
哦
yin
反正
yang
就是
eyes. Maybe
前
that's
面
the
有
sixth
车
senses.
祸然后就是
And
有个人撞死了吧，
she
就是
would
在车祸中
see
去
a
世
car
了。然后
accident
这个
and
去世
somebody
的
die
人
in the
呢，
accident.
就
And
跑到
then
他
the
坐的那个
spirit
车子面前
of
告诉他
the
这个
the
就
dead
是
person who
the
died
sixth
in the
sense
car
哦，
accident
然后这
would
个小
come
孩他
to
就是有这种特性的嘛，
this
但是
child's
也是
car
很
to
瘦弱
tell
很
tell
惊吓，
him.
因为他
And
呢
this
是看到
child
这些
was
纪元
also
哦，他去
like
一个
very
很古
sensitive
老
and
的教室
always
很
gets
破旧的
scared.
地
And
方，
because
他就能够看
he
到那些在
if he
二战的
goes
时候被吊死
to
的人在里面啊什
some
么之类
places
的。
who's
所以就是让
very
这个小孩 真的不
you know
强壮，精
chaotic,
神也
and
不
then
强壮，身体
he would see like people who
所以像这
died
种
in the
孩子
Second
他
World
能
War
看
or
得
something
多
like that,
好，我
or
说这
hang
有他的因
themselves,
缘
and
哈
so he
但
was
是
very
最
weak.
好
Well,
最安全的是他看到
Grandmaster said,
但是
well, there's a
看见的
reason
这
for
个
her
因
to
缘通
see,
常是
but
什
the
么呢
best would
是
be
负
for
面
her
的
not
因
to
缘
see. The reason for her to
这
see
前
usually
前
is a
面那个
negative
讲的
reason.
什么那个 阿姨
Like
看到有个怪物哈，
yeah,
插她的腰
Kelly's aunt who
这叫负
saw
面因缘。
the
比如说
something
你
was
你
pinching
今世
her
或你前
waist.
世或者你的
That's a negative
长辈、父亲、爷爷之类
cause.
的哈，
Maybe
把那
yourself
个
or
一个
your
特别的动物
grand
给打死了。
father
而且
maybe
打的不是
killed
用
that
铁锹用
animal
棍
and
子
maybe
就是从右侧腰打进去
used a
所以
stick
把人腰打断了，
to beat that
那
animal on
你
the
就
right
他回
side
来
and
之后
maybe
就来
uh,
报仇，
break their
掐你一下
back
很
or
轻的，
something. And
掐死
so
你都
they
很正
came
常。
back to
因为他
pinch.
的
It's
反回
actually
报
a
的时候是
very
厉害的。
light revenge
所
because when they
以
came
我们
back
新加坡这个
to
他叫
take
啥？
revenge, it can be
宋
quite
杰
serious.
哈，宋杰
And
师姐的
for
这个
Sister Dr.
儿
Song
呢，
Jue's
看到这个，我还
daughter,
能就是感觉到，就是
I
应
can
该还是与祖
feel
上有
that
关系。
it has
祖
something
上
to
的
do
一
with
些可能
her ancestors,
因
maybe
缘，就是负面的因
yeah,
缘，
a
比
kind
如
of
说类似不道德的
negative
行为哈，
negative
不道德的行为是伤
cause
害
or
而形
karma,
成的，
maybe some
让这个孩子
immoral behavior that
他处在
caused
能看
the
见我们
little
称之游
girl
离 游离状态的这样的精神状态。
to sort of like in a very
对，所以这个
detached
是
kind of a floating state to be
退一
able
万
to
步说
see
你首
these.
先除了像请我们这样的人
Well,
帮你去做一些
in
事，
addition
你还要做
to
功德才行。
invite someone
因为以
like
前
us
是就是
to
你们
help
祖
her,
宗带来
you
的
need
伤
to
害，给
bring,
别人带来
you
伤
need to
害。
accumulate merits because
哎，
your
你
ancestors
看到一
has
个，
caused
比如
some
看到一
harm,
个鬼，
and
这个鬼和你有
if you
关系，
see the
否则
ghost,
这个
the
鬼
ghost
阳也
has
不会让你
something to
看到
do
它。
with that ghost, and otherwise, well, if you don't have any connection, the king of the hell won't let you see that.
他也会哈。哦，
Yeah. So also, she also said when she was sleeping on the sofa, yeah, this Song Jue, she also had this kind of dream, and she saw her aunt took the little girl's hand and came to her
做功德
sofa,
的
and
我就不
this
必多说了哈。
little
哎，
girl
我
really
再
looked
解释你
like
会害怕
her
哈。
second
多做
daughter.
功德，
Well, Grandmaster said, I'm not going to
消灾灭难。
explain further. Just do more merits. That will help you to, yeah, to eliminate your calamities.
鬼压床的故事啊。
Oh, and
下一
Joy
个呢
said
也
the
是来自于新加坡的
the
是
next
宋旭师姐。
story is
她说呢
from
她是在
also a
2017
sister
年
from
18年的时候
Singapore,
呢
Song Xu.
在马来西亚保龄产
From
堂参加健身
2017
班
to
结果在这
2018,
个
she
参
was
加班期间
attending
呢
the
有
8
天
and a
晚
half
上
day
她碰
retreat,
到了几位
health
穿
and
着
happiness
全
meditation
黑色
retreat
长
at
长
the
的斗篷的人，就有点像我
Baoling
们今天的这个直
Center
播
in
一开始
Malaysia.
那个
And
修
one
图
night
哈
she
那种
was
黑色长
she
斗
was
篷的人
dreaming
飘
of
在上空中追我。
someone who was wearing a
她
very
她当时是
long
看不
and
见
black robes, and
那
they were
些
flying in
穿
the
斗篷的
sky
人的
chasing
脸
her.
全都是黑的。然后
She
她
couldn't
一
see
路
their
追着这个
faces,
师姐跑，
and
当时也觉得自己
everything was
怎么
just
跑
black.
也跑不
And
动
they
啊，
chased
那个
her,
腿又很
and
沉重
she
嘛，就
felt
好
like
像
she
电影里的
she
慢
wanted to
动作
run
一
but
样的
couldn't,
那么
and
样
she
才能
was
跑。
like a slow
然后
motion
她就试
movie,
图喊
and she
南
tried
无
to
阿弥陀
yell
佛，
Namo
结果
Amitabha
呢，
Buddha,
每个字都
but
很吃
every
力，她就
single word was very hard for her to
哞
yell, and so she said
就
Na
这样，最后
Ma.
终于喊
And
到佛的时候，
when
啊，
she
然后自己醒
eventually
过来了。
yelled the last syllable, Amitabha Buddha, and she woke up
过了半年哈，
after
第二次
half a
又梦
year.
到这个黑衣人了。
She
喝口
dreamed
水，喝
of
口水
that
哈，喝口水。
black, that
这个天气也挺干
man
燥
in
的。
black again. Oh, drink some
就
water.
梦到
It's
黑衣
very dry.
人啊，在
So
空
she
中漂
dreamed
浮着
of
追
the
她，
man
吓
in
得她
black.
呢心里还是明白，就念佛。
And so she was
其实
so
人这
scared,
个时
and
候
she
其实就是半
started
梦
to
半醒。
chant. At that time, she was actually half asleep and half awake.
对，
And she actually was very good, and she knew to chant to help her. And after half a year, this time when she dreamed of the man in black, they were actually grabbing her foot, and she couldn't let go, and she struggled and screamed but couldn't get free. And so in a dream, she was just struggling and struggling until she woke up her husband. Usually her husband would have like sleep very soundly, but this time she was woke up. Well, that shows how many movements she did, and yeah.
所以就这个两次这种梦
So
魇，
these
而且
two
都是
times,
黑衣人在追她。
both were like men in black were chasing her. And ever since 2019, she started to watch Grandmaster's live streams, and she also offered 1 year light for her ancestors, parents, brothers and sisters, and comic creditors, and like over 30 lights. And recently, she also started to make offerings to Buddha, and she really started to believe in offering light to the Buddha. Every month after she received her salary, she would make light offering to the Buddha. And she believed that offering light to the Buddha would stop the nightmare. And
这个梦
so, yeah, she believed that it's
麻烦
these
的地方
offering
是
that helped her not
比
to
较
have
清
these
楚的
strange
黑衣
dreams.
人在追她，还好几个。
Yeah, so Grandmaster said in her
一般理
dream,
解就是
several men in
像
black
这种梦没有
was
没有平白无故
chasing
做
her.
啊
So these kind of
就是
dream
和
won't
她
just
有
come with no
关系的
reason. There must
你的
be
伤害过的生命，
some lives
但是
that
已经
she
死了
had
哈。
hurt
这是一
before.
个说法。
Maybe they
第二
have
个说法，
already
一般这种打扮
deceased,
的，这
and
叫
and
黑衣使者。
And the second kind of saying is like they are the ambassadors in black, like ambassadors from the hell. They came to grab human beings. So Chinese people know that they don't. Yeah, usually there are one in black and one in white, and or either white or either black, and it depends. Yeah, so this is not very good. So you need to continue merits, right? You had these dreams, but you're still alive. I think that's quite amazing. It's just like if you have like the last stage cancer and you're still alive, that's the same kind of scenario. In 2019, because we had a lot of live streams in 2019, so she listened to live streams a lot. And so Grandmaster said it's all because of harm in your previous life. Maybe you heard too many lives, and they are just representatives. Yeah, you didn't see like a group of people or many people coming to chase you. They're just representative of those lives who have been hurt. Well, even just listen to this is quite terrible, scary. And so Kunji said, I also would like to share some letters from our online friends. So this is a little girl, 17 years old, Liang Jiu from Australia. She said, Grandmaster, I'm 17 years old. When I was about 10 years old, I went back to China and lived at my aunt's place for a few days. One day, I woke up in the middle of the night, and she said, when I will open my eyes, she saw a middle-aged man wearing formal suit and a top hat. It's quite scary at the middle of the night. And so she was wearing a top hat, and she was able to see the man's face. And when she was looking at his eyes started to glow. And she was so scared that she closed her eyes, and then she finally fell asleep again. And in the morning, whenever she saw that chair, she would be scared. And at that time, she was very little, and she didn't think too much about it. But she knew that this was not a dream. And after a year or two, in Australia, she dreamed of a man again. And she thought that it's the same man that she saw the night when at 10 years old, she saw in her hometown, and both of them were wearing a very formal suit and a top hat. And in this dream, this little girl actually has some, they're quite far apart, but all of a sudden they were very close in the same escalator, and then the little girl finally escaped from the escalator and run away, but she felt that the middle-aged man was always following her, and she couldn't escape. And she suddenly felt that she was back to the village, and then she couldn't help looking back, and the middle-aged man was smiling but grinning, and then the girl was so scared. And finally, she was back to her Australian home, and she felt settled because she went back home. But after she opened her door, outside of the fence, this middle-aged man was staring at her, and this little girl was horrified, and then she woke up. And so she thought, why for 2 times she dreamed of this middle-aged man? And so she prayed for Grandmaster's help and blessings. So Grandmaster said, I cannot tell you directly because this is divine secret, but generally speaking, it is the harm from your previous lives. It's also well, at least you need to, it's like, one life to pay another lost life. So Yeah, as long for that world, as long as you are in the human realm, then whichever country, it doesn't matter. As long as you are in the human world, then they will be able to catch you. They will be able to chase you. And so, this sister also said that whenever she was sleeping, she if she was not in the right posture, she couldn't breathe, and and she couldn't practice. Whenever she practiced, she would feel headache and also frustrated. Yeah, so Grandmaster says, when you are practicing, there are some kind of obstacles that prevent you from the practice. So what should you do? You need to persevere the practice, whatever happens. Otherwise, you'll die earlier. Yeah. So only the practice and only through these can help you. And so Grandmaster says, our life, usually when we will leave the world would be a fixed age, right? This age is determined by your karma, right? And to change our karma is very difficult. For you to come here and learn Dharma and improve your life and fate, if you have a lot of bad karma, then you would have a lot of obstacles. So especially those karmic creditors, they say, oh, you want to fly away with the aircraft? No. They would either steal your money, or then you would destroy your aircraft, or they would do everything to stop you from going away. And if you want to go higher realm, you want to, to be free from the sixth samsara, then there will be even more obstacles, and it can be manifesting, reflect in many different aspects. And especially when you're determined to cultivate, then the demons will show very clearly, and they will show in your home. Maybe you're a young man. Maybe your mother or your grandmother would say, no, how dare you practice? If you ever practice, you are betraying our family. So if you're married, maybe your husband or your wife would fight with you not to allow you to practice. And so a lot of times these obstacles will show in your home, because you cannot be away from your home, right? Because you cannot escape, right? This home and your family members, your home, nobody can get rid of their family. Yeah, if you get married, you have your own little family too. You cannot live without your family, right? In order to stop your practice, then they would create these obstacles through your family members. And if you can continue, persevere the practice with the obstacles from your family. It's not easy. Very few people can do that. So, Liang Zhou, you need to practice very well. Your last life, you may have done something really not good, and that's why they are chasing you. But don't worry if you practice and cultivate diligently. And you also need to offer lights. You need to repent. You need to make merits. And only with these merits that you can soothe their pain, so that they don't want to chase you anymore. But if that is like if you have ever killed someone and took their lives, and you say, oh, I'll just repent, and so you please forgive me, and it's not easy. So change your fate is not easy, but if you understand that, then you need to really persevere. Otherwise, you won't be able to go through. If you persevere, you definitely will have a lot of obstacles from them. No one would say anything good about the practice. No one would say anything good about me, and then you will not be able to avoid. And so this is a very hard test for you. Yeah, the more you want to practice, the more obstacles you will have. but
过
it
伤害的事儿，人家才
also
来追过
proved
来。
that you have already
对不对？
done some harm to
怎么
other
办？
lives so that they are
咬紧牙
chasing
关
you.
好好
So
修。
what should you do?
多做功
You
德。
just persevere and practice well and make more
好，那
merits.
下面还有
Thank
一
you,
个马来西亚
Grandmaster.
的怀敦师姐
And
哈，
next
讲述的
is
这个又跟前面
a
这种
Sister
梦的不一
Huaidun
样
from
啊，我们
Malaysia. So
听一
this
听
is another dream. So let's
他说他
listen to
从小就有
this
一个怪
sharing.
梦，啊，他
She
也不知道
said
到底
she
是梦呢还是一种病
from
啊
her childhood she
他说小时候每
has
当要闭上眼
many,
睛
you
睡觉
know,
的时候
scary
呢，就
dreams.
会看到
And
类似球状
ever
的物
since
体，
she,
感
whenever
觉
she
就在
closed
自
her
己
eyes,
身
she
体的
would
某
see
个器
some
官，
balls,
而
and
且它会慢慢的
and then
变
she
化
felt that it's
然后
actually
呢
her
就有一根
organ,
很
and then
尖
the
的
ball
针
will
往那
enlarge,
个
and
物体
then
里边
a
刺进
very
去。
pointing
那
needle
被
will
刺进去的
pierce
时
it.
候呢，那个物
And
体就开始缩小，
when it's
然后
pierced, it
就
starts
小
to
到
shrink.
特别的痛。
It's
啊，你说那个身
extremely
体要是
painful when it
接
becomes
受那
small.
种针扎的痛，这
Yeah,
个
so
多难
this
受啊！
piercing is
然后呢，
very painful.
他就特别害怕
And
嘛，
then
睁开眼睛就
she
不
would
敢
be
睡
very
了，
scared
甚
and
至
she
都
would
可以
open
听
her
到自己
eyes
心跳
and
的声音，
they're not
扑通
sleep
扑通，
anymore and she could hear her
还可以
heartbeat
看到那个心
and
脏
she
好
could
像就要泄
see
不出来了
the heart
啊。
is going
然后他
to
如果
jump
再
out
闭
of
上
the
眼睛
chest
接着
and
睡呢，那
um,
个球体那个针又
when
来
if
了，
she
就
tried
这样
to
让他
close
没
her
敢
eyes
说
and sleep
很害
again
怕
then
睡
the
觉。
same image
但
will
是因为年龄
arrive
小嘛，也没有敢
and
告
she
诉
was
父
so
母
afraid
啊，
of
也
sleep
怕
at
父母担
night but
心。
she dare not tell her
之
parents
后
because
呢，
she
因为
didn't
常
want
常
them
出
to
现这种
worry
情况，
because
就
this
记得
happens
呀，
very
当时当那
frequently.
个
She
针
remembered
刺下
that
去
when
的时候呢，
she
她
saw
就
the
快
needle
数
starting
1、2、
to
3、
pierce,
4、
then
5、
she
6，
would
然后
count
就慢慢
1, 2,
就可以
3
睡着
very
了啊。
quickly, and
但
then
有的时候
eventually
还
she
是
will
被
fall
那根
asleep,
针
but
呢给刺醒的。
she
一直
would
到
still be
12
woke
岁，
up by
她
the
接触
needle
到了佛法，
until
开始念
she
观音菩
encountered
萨圣
Buddhist
号，那
teachings
这
when she
种
was
针
12
刺的
years
情况
old,
才
and she
开始
started to
减
chant
少。
Guanyin
那她长
Bodhisattva's
大以
sacred
后呢，
name.
又很
Then
少
the
念佛了
situation
啊。
occurred
结果在
only
她21岁怀她大儿子
once.
的时候呢，医
After
生
she
检
grew
查
up,
身
she
体
really
说她的
chanted.
心
So
脏
when
有一道
she
门
was
是没有
21
关紧
years
的。
old
医
and
生
she
说心
was
脏应该有2道
pregnant
门，
with her
一个
eldest
是
son, the doctor
血液
checked
进
her
来，一
and
个血液
said
出
that
去了。
her
但她的呢
one
有
of
一
the
道门
doors
是
in
没
her
关
heart
紧的，
is not
这个就是我们
closed,
在医学
and
上叫
you know
心
the
脏
heart
瓣
has
膜
two
关闭不
doors,
全啊。那这种病症
and
的人，他就容易
the
乏
what
力
her
呀、
heart
劳累
valves
呀，
cannot
还有
close
那个心慌
properly.
心悸、心
So
痛啊，哈
you know, this
还有
is
的时候
the
呼吸困
heart
难等
valve
等，会有这种
illnesses.
症状。
It can
对，
cause weakness,
所以呢，就让他
palpitation,
觉
and
得说，
chest
他
pain,
小的
and
时候做的梦，
dis
到底是这种怪梦呢，还是心脏这个病
dyspnea
啊？
on
哈，这是
exertion
这是他
and
第一个疑
yeah,
问
feel
呢。
short of breath
后
like
来呢，就
during
这个梦在
exercise.
30
And
多岁
so
的时候又出
this
现了，
dream
又出
happened
现了。
several times
那那个时候
again
呢，
when she was in
孩
her
子又小，
30s,
家里经济
and
又
she
不
was very
好，而
scared.
且
At the
身
time,
体
her
健
children
康
are
也
very
不太好，
little,
所
and
以呢，
their
他也没有
financial
敢跟
situation
一些
wasn't
生
very
和家
good,
人
and
讲，
she
又
was
是
not
自
in
己
very
默
good
默承
health,
受
and she dare
啊。
not tell
直
her
到遇
husband
见了
and
观音
family.
禅修，遇
She
见了
had
师
just
傅，
to bear
这可
by
真是
herself
雪中
until
送炭呐。
she
自从禅修之后呢，师姐的身
come
体
to
状
Bodhi
况就明显
meditation
改
and
善
met
了，
Grandmaster.
而且那
This
个
is
梦到
really
现
a
在也
a
没有
very
再出现
timely
过。
help
而
and
是即
saved
使
her
这样
life.
呢，师姐心里还是有
And
一点点
after
担
the
心，
meditation,
说
her
不知将
health
来有一天
improved
会不会这个梦又
significantly,
出
and the
现呢？
dream never
啊，
happened again.
所以
But she
因为
was
那
still
个梦
worried
太可怕了哈，
if
所以
in the
她
future
这
this
是
dream
她
will
她
come back
关于这
again.
个梦的情
And
况。
so
那么就在前几个星期呢，
a
她又
few
做了一
weeks
个噩梦，
ago, she
梦
had
见她
another
来到一
dream.
栋
She
楼
dreamed
房，
that
里
she
面有
went
好几
to
个
a
人，那
building.
好
There
几个
were
人都在
several
慌
people
忙的
there
在逃
inside,
跑，
and they
她也
were
就跑过去
running
问，
away
那
in
为什么
panic.
跑啊？
And
人家就跟
she
她说
ran to
快点
them and
跑，
asked what's
否则就
happening, and
会
they
给人
told
抓起来
her
把你
also
杀
to
掉
run,
的。
otherwise
吓
they
得
will be
她也转身
captured
跑，
and
结果
killed.
发现
And
追的
so
人已经到身后了。
she
哇，她
started
就
to
赶
run,
快
and she
跑
realized
啊！
someone someone was behind her, and she tried to run away, but the person seemed to know her, and the person chased after her, and up and down in the building. And when she finally escaped from him, she woke up feeling extremely tired, as if she ran in the entire building. And this same dream she had twice, and every time she would be extremely tired. And another time, it was the day before, she had a nightmare. She saw someone captured another person and killed told him as he stabbed the victim with the knife, there was bloodshed, and the blood horrified her, and she suddenly woke up. And so she prayed that Grandmaster would guide her. And so what was that? When she was a little girl, she dreamed of the ball, and there's a needle pierced the ball. And so was that indicating her heart issue, or this is sleep paralysis, or what was that? So Grandmaster said. So first of all, it was actually from her childhood. She did have the dream. Was that? Yeah, so that was actually the dream. Yeah, if you want to design a dream like this, you won't be able to design like this. It's a ball, and there's a long needle piercing the ball. So what do you think, Christine, this is in your mind, thinking of a ball that the needle is piercing it? I have no idea. I don't know how to explain it. In Malaysia, Joyce said. Oh, so there's a kind of spell. Yeah, so she dreamed of like wugu. I don't know. There are different schools. Oh, so this is like casting a spell. If you have watched a movie about Han Wu Emperor, in his later years, there are those concubines, they were doing, they put a lot of needles on the little dolls. And because of that, this emperor killed 30,000 people. And yeah, because that's really too bad. And when they caught anyone, they would kill the whole family, because that's too mean and too bad. But that actually happened a lot in Southeast Asia. Even though they have different schools, but this kind of behavior, it's the same. It's kind of like cursing or casting spell. Yeah. Oh, Grandmaster said this actually comes from her father. Yeah, and then the daughter actually was the victim. So that person was a local person, maybe hired some wizard to do that. Yeah, when people who just to earn, in order to earn some money, they hurt people. They actually will hurt themselves too. Yeah, it's like a killer. Like some people will hire a killer to kill someone. So they are not using a gun or something to kill a person, but they are using these cursing or spells. About 20 years ago, there was a Chinese people in Indonesia and came to visit me. And then when I saw him, I can see a lot of dark chi, dark energy. But I usually don't want to speak, I wanted to say more politely, so I said, are you having something? Because your expression or your complexion don't look good. And then his whole family, like all 14 family members, all were dead except him. So some people, had car accidents. Some were like died in a fire. 5 of them, and like within 7 years, all the other 13 died, and he was very lucky that he met Grandmaster, and he went to but when he had a medical check, like all her internal organs had some issues, and whenever he closed his eyes, there's that evil energy, and he couldn't sleep. He was almost going to be insane, and so they have those cursing killers. It's quite terrifying. And so this sharing has already showed that she was cursed. But after you shared with us and we read this story, your spell and curse has already been removed. And the last dream and seeing someone was killed and there was the blood spitting out, that actually is a good dream. Wow, that's very good. Yeah. So in the dream, especially in the dream, if you see the blood coming out and if you see someone stabbing you or you, it's actually good. But if you are pressed, yeah, if you see other people shedding blood, it's actually good. This is not good in our human world, but if that's in a dream, it's a good thing. So I think that this sister must have cultivated well. So your spell, your curse has already been broken and removed. Well, so Christine say, well, I feel like she still needs more merits, right? I have goosebumps, you know. Usually, yeah. So if they continue to cast the spells, that maybe it will have continuous impact. But when the Buddha light is removing this. So if the curse hasn't been stopped, yeah. But if we have the Buddha light and the Buddha force to resist it, then this force will be reflected to themselves, to the person who ordered or hired someone to curse them. So our online friends, when they hear these stories, they actually left tons of messages, and yeah, and yeah, so they were so surprised to hear like so many people need help. Yeah, their dreams, like this is really eye-opening to see so many dreams. Yeah, we really need to go back and read those live chats again. So Grandmaster, what should we do to avoid these, harm? And so Grandmaster says, I'm actually teaching a whole system of method to avoid this. So everything when they happens, whether it's cursing or the ghosts come to bite you or catch you or your child can see something, that's all because of some karmic connection. There must be a cause. It's just like if you have toothache, maybe it's because your nerve, or maybe you have too much heat, or maybe because too much pressure. There must be a reason, right? And so this reason usually is because of bad karma. It's actually harm for maybe some life. So this life, have you cheat someone or your family member or even someone who give favor to you or who helped you? What about you cheated your teacher and you want to do some investment, and some people want to sell, if you sell to people who don't know you, then they don't buy. So you always try to sell to people who know you. When you harm people or cheat people, then you will have to take the consequence, right? Especially if you actually made some people hang themselves or kill themselves, or maybe in a love affairs, you said, married that person and then
喝药自杀等等，对不对？
you married a
那个
girl,
机会
but
来
then
报
you
仇
actually have already your wife, and then
甚至说图
you
财害
force
命。
the other girl
哎
to
我
kill
把他这个
herself,
钱
and
哈，
or
我用我的
if
方法把它
you
骗光了。
use some
就前一段时间
ways
我们在
to
网上看到，
to
在
do some
中国有一
scan
个
and
学理科的一位
and
研究
and
博士生，是吧？
take all the money
他赚了
away.
很多
So
钱。
there was actually
而且
in
是
China there was
黄金王老五，
a
对不
man
对？
with
钻石王老五。
like
他
a
很有钱，
PhD
但
and
是
he has
他的故事
lots
上
of
交
lots
女
of
朋友
money,
也不会
but he
谈恋
didn't
爱，
have time
其余成
to
为女高手、
find
女骗子高手。
girlfriend and
3个月
and
将他搞
then
定，而且将资产全
he
部转移到自己名下来，对
encountered
不对？
a
最后这个
swindler,
IT
a
男自杀了，
lady,
不是一般 IT 男啊，
and
他的大
then
脑哈，科技大
took
脑非常
all
好用，
his
就是没
money
有情商，
away.
被
But
这个女的给骗了，骗得倾
so
家
he
荡
was
产，人家自杀
cheated
了。
and all
但
her
是
money
反过来
was
会怎么
lost,
样呢？
and so he killed himself. But what would happen
这
next?
种阴魂不散的，
So
为
this
什么很
soul
多
will
快速
not
转
go
世
away.
有记忆
That's
前世
why
的，都是被人害死的，一
some
般都是
people
年轻人，
can
对不对？
reincarnate
他就
very
不死，
quickly. Those
阎
young
王爷说
people,
你自己去了断你的事儿吧。
and
他
he
就会
doesn't
来
want to
报仇。
die. He will come back and take revenge. And even the
对，
king of the hell
所
will
以
say, "Go back
你
and
这个害
finish
死了
your
他，比如
your
说
your
哈，
stuff."
今天法庭
And
判
so if
说，
you
哎，我们比如在台
harm
湾
that
有一段时
person,
间，我不是现在
there was
说
once
取
in
消死
Taiwan.
刑这个政策，
You know,
世界很多
they
国
have
家都在
already
取消死
stopped
刑，对不
the
对？
sentence
但
of
是
death
我们
in
从
many
社会来说，
countries,
说你
right?
看
But
我们显得多宽
you
容啊，我
know,
们取消
for
死
the
刑。
society,
那他
this
把你
seems
家
to be
人给
very
捅死2个的话，你说
forgiving.
取消死
But
刑，你乐意吗？
if someone killed 2 of your family members, and
对
if
呀，
this
我
sentence
们
of
心里就
death has
愤怒，人
been
家活得好好的，你给他弄死。
you know,
结果
cancelled,
你们为了
and
拿
then
选
do you
票，
think it's
最后说
fair?
取消死刑啊？
Yeah.
那死亡的人的这个家属
So
心里能平
the
吗？还有那
family
个
of
死人
the
心里头能服
victims,
气吗？
would they feel fair?
所以为
Would
什么回来
and
有
also
托
those
梦啊，想
dead
显灵
person,
啊，
would they
找
feel
法官、
fair?
找警察
That's
去
why
抓那
they
个坏人，
come
对不对？
to give
前
dreams
段
to
时
some
间台湾的
policemen
网
or
络
to
登传，
some,
有
you
一个
know,
人
trying
无故
to
杀人，是不是
to
啊？
catch the
啊，
dead
奸杀把人
person.
杀了，结果呢，
Yeah.
一判
I
说
think a
25年，
few
从再找2
days
年
ago
找
there
个病
was
假出来了，可能关个10年8年就出来，对不对？
he actually
结果
killed
那个人
someone and
被弄
he
死的这个
raped
人哈，
someone and killed that person,
就
and
很
then
生气，取消死刑。不过这么
because
有个
there's
判决，
no sentence of
我
death, he only had like
被说过，
25 years of
不行，
sentence,
你
and
们
then
不
he
杀了
said
他，我杀了他。结果那个人在阎王爷那里领了令旨，将他掐死。就在监狱里头，那脖子呼吸不上来，就当着那
And
么多人
then,
说有人掐他，有人掐他。其他的监
when
狱那个
this
狱友哈，都看不见有
prisoner,
人，就
yeah,
是当场被掐死啊。
yeah,
就
he
来
he
索命。
actually was in the prison,
哎，
and then
就是
he
这样。
just suddenly feels
所以说
someone
这个
was
所以这个天道大于法律啊，
was
这个
killing
天
him
都觉
and
得他不
yeah, holding his neck, and
所以咱
so
们呢，
all the
就是
other
说别
prisoners
做那
saw
些坑
him
人害
like
人的事儿。
was
我教
was
大家的
killed.
都是
So
与人
it's
为
just
善
like
啊。
the
所以
other
我们做不
victim
做不到
was
绝对
taking
成
the
为一个好
instruction
人，
from the
但是
king
我
of
懂得
hell
什
and
么叫
come
坏，
back and killed him.
什么
So
叫不好，对
well,
不对？
we know
哎，
what is good
那个
and
人
what
家
is
骗人，
bad,
尤其
and
骗人这件
if
事，只要
you
张嘴一开
cheat
口就能骗人的事
someone,
情。凡是骗人就是为了利益，
it's
为了
always
个人的利
because
益，
of your
对不对？
interest,
哎，我为了
yeah,
让你给我
your
涨
own
工资，所以
interest.
我骗你，
Maybe
我说那些奉承的但是不真实的话，对不对？
yeah. So in order to
所以年
raise
轻
your
人我没
income,
钱，
you
我要
want
装有
to
钱，
you know
所以我要和
flatter
另
or
外一个
you
人谈恋爱，
pretend to
别让他瞧
be
不起
very
我，对不
wealthy
对？
so you
哎，
can
所以
make friends
说
with
假
another
话。
girl, and then you would
我
cheat
为
the
了
girl
谈那个买卖做
in
业
order
务，
to do the
所以当
business.
年
Then
就真
you
90
know
年的时候，
in
那时候中国刚改革开放，
1990s,
多
in
少人没
China,
钱，
they
对不
just
对？
had
买
economic
个
reform.
7、
A
8
lot
手
of
的老
people
破车，
they
觉
don't
得我有
have
车。
money,
那个
and
时候
so they
人买
would
摩
just
托车的
buy
都不多，
a
所以
not
买个老
second
破
hand,
车
maybe
显得我有钱
seventh
呐。
or eighth
那
hand
个
of
时候那
car,
个德国那
and
个什么
so
BMW 啊，
like
什么奔驰车那
BMW
些，
or
那个旧那
Benz,
没有新车了，那些旧车特别值
yeah,
钱。
对，我
those
记得我
old
朋友
cars
25
are
万公里
very
的车
popular.
开心了。
25
Yeah.
万公里还是改了的，之
Yeah.
前是50
So
万。
Joy
我
said
告诉
one
你，
of my classmates
那
bought
个修车的人会
a
播呀，
Benz car
像播
with
钟表
like
一样，您播回来了，你还以为
1,000 kilometers. Yeah. Well, yeah, that would be very popular, even though it has a lot of problems in the whole car. Yeah, but still, it has the shape. Why do they want to buy that kind of car? Yeah, they want to cheat someone.
你看人家当时身无分文，尤其是现在网上净是胡说八道的说，你看
Right
4年
now,
之后成为一个超级
online,
上市公司老板，我
Yeah.
说这些人都没富过。
those people, yeah, they said they had no money at all at the beginning, but after 4 years, they have already become the owner of a company who is already on the stock market. Yeah. Well, that's impossible. Actually, it's not that easy for a company to be put on the stock market. You need a long process. Yeah. So they actually try to design or cheat someone. They said, oh, they've never had any education, but then after 4 years, they're already the owner of the listing company in the stock market. Do you have any questions? Yeah. So, well, Grandmaster says, so what I want to say is that, first of all, try to be a good person. Secondly, if you learn from me, then you chant more. And all these blessed gifts, I don't actually care if you would misunderstand me. I always introduce these blessed gifts to you. Maybe you think they are just a product, but when you get it, it's a treasure. Yeah. Have you ever seen that when the ghost comes, those Christians will show their cross, and so that will keep the ghost away. But for Buddhists, then you can use Vajra pestle or something. If you really have that disease, then these are like medicines, will help you and will protect you. So we have some new Buddha statues. Well, this is new. This is not new. They're just being put here. They're much older than me. I'm the only new one here. So these are super Dharma protectors. On the screen, maybe you cannot see. On my left side, there are the four heavenly kings, heavenly generals, and they're very exquisitely made, and the four heavenly kings, maybe you have heard about them many times. They have divided the universe in 4 parts, and so they're in charge of each part. So they're much more powerful than emperors or kings, or even much more powerful than deities. So it will help you to settle the house, and it also helps for us to have fair weather and bless us with bumper harvest. And also will bring you prosperity. Your whole family will be in harmony. And so in the Chinese Buddhist temple, you can remember that right at the front, then it's the statue of the 4 heavenly kings. Yeah, so they can prevent all the evil spirits away from the temple, right? They're like the guard of the temple. Yeah. So they're very, very powerful in defending the temples and everyone. So if we invite them home, do we need to invite all 4 of them home to help our family? Well, 4 definitely would be better, but 1 would also be fine. Yeah, because they are heavenly kings. If you can even just invite 1, would be already very good. Well, 4 of them would be too expensive. Yeah. Well, you can check. Oh, they're all sold out. They're sold out already. Well, my price is super high, but it's still lower than my cost. I'm not a very wise person. I'm kind of crazy sometimes. If I'm happy today, I'll give a super low price. When I bought them, actually the price that we're selling right now is half of the price when I bought. Why should I do that? Well, I want to benefit those people, help those people who really need them, because their home, maybe they're crying because of the evil energy. And so Christine said, yeah, they really, some people really want the Mahakala statue or the picture. Yeah, before they were scared of that, but now Mahakala's picture, Mahakala's statue, they really love them. Now Mahakala's statue becomes so popular, and they really love to have a Mahakala's Thangka. Oh, I see this Thangka, Mahakala's Thangka. Yeah, Mahakala is the combination of 4 heavenly kings. He's the master of the universe, and because of Buddha's compassion, he is the great Dharma protector of Buddha. So there many Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Dharma kings, they think that Mahakala is the manifestation of Guanyin Bodhisattva because he is protecting everyone with Buddha's compassion, but he would also dispel all the evil spirits and evil energy. So we call him Mahakala Bodhisattva. He's the king of the universe, and his energy is like the combination of all 4 heavenly kings. For some ghosts or some small spirits, that is just a piece of cake for them. So he would make your whole family very safe, very peaceful, and very prosperous, and his you can see the flame around him, and it's like super energy, and all the evil energy will be super scared of him. And on this Thangka, there's another Buddha statue above the Mahakala statue. And so that is Guanyin Bodhisattva's statue. So Mahakala Bodhisattva is another form of Guanyin Bodhisattva. So Mahakala's image is not easy. So this is from actually Grandmaster's meditation hall. So this ancient Thangka, is it possible for someone in need to purchase it? So Grandmaster says, recently when I, in my dreams and when I receive all these letters, just the letters talking about, sleep paralysis or, nightmares, there are just so many. So today, I want to look after those people really in need. So I will allow this Thangka, ancient Thangka from 350 years ago, I will only make 18 copies for the people who need it most. Wow. Thank you, Grandmaster, to allow our home to be safe and calm, and so our parents and seniors and children, they will all be safe. So all these are Dharma protectors. Do you need some introduction of this statue? This is, so this is not very common. Oh, in the Tibetan Tantric Buddhism, this is the Kurukula goddess. Yeah, so in the Tibetan Tantric Buddhism, they have a very,
她是宇宙之中一位佛陀的最勇猛的护法神，
statue.
但
Yeah.
只是说他
So
的呈现的像
he
和
is
影
a
像
Dharma
是最
protector
勇
of the
猛的，比
universe,
男
but
护法神还厉
he's
害。
expressed in a female form, but he's even more powerful
是这样
than
的。
many male Dharma protectors. Only Mahakala Bodhisattva can
对，
compete
如果
with
你是一
him
个真修
or
行人，
her.
其实大黑天也是一
If you
样的。
are
如果是
a
真修行
true
人，他
cultivator,
要保护你，引领你，要超越
in
六道
order-
轮回的这个
yeah,
阻挡。
he would
能获
help
得
you
最
to
终究竟涅
and
槃智
protect
慧
you and
啊
guide
这
you
最终
to
成
go
佛
through the
这个过
six
程你要
realms
靠
and
他们来
eventually
支
to
持
get
你，
the
保护你，才
to
能
get
去解脱。
enlightened. And
是这
through
个意
this
思。
process, you
那
need
实论是
her
指
to
什么呀？
protect you.
时间轮回啊，就像一个道道的那个城墙一样的。
Yeah,
对，
so
他保护
the
你，超
wheel
越这个
of
时轮，
time,
你才能
he
获得
would
最终的正果。
she would
这
protect
样
you
子啊
to
所以要有这样大护
to
法
go
神菩萨能保佑
beyond
你。
the wheel of time to
对
to eventually get enlightened. And she has 4 arms, and every arm has different Dharma tools to protect us.
对
Yeah, so it helps to, it actually symbolizes the cessation, the, yeah,
对
yeah, so
对
all these
所以这里
poisons,
头
like
要
the
解释就太
greed,
多了，大家知道一点这个就
yeah,
可
the
以了
5
已经就够
poisons
了
will
啊
all become
对
these
就是让你
little
能够获得安生， 获得最
demons
终的
that
解脱哈。
she would
你
put
想这
under
个
his
那
feet
个天
and
体之中
control
的
and
这个
conquer
邪道
it.
有多少？别说
Well,
天体了，光是人间邪道有多少？
Yeah,
从
just
鬼
thinking of
到妖
in
是吧
the
到邪
yeah, so
到
many
动物的
evils
邪
like
魔
ghosts
你
and
光超越
evils
这光人类
and
的那是毛病，人的
animal
毛病你都杜绝不
evil
了，对不对？
animals and
什么
just
睡
bad
懒觉
habits
啊，
and being
这个
lazy
超级
and
的
sleep
懒惰
in and
啊，
super lazy
超级的
and
贪吃
super
啊，
greedy
超级的
and
骗子啊，等等的，
super
光在人间的这些臭毛病就
cheating.
没完没
And
了
so
的，
even
志向
human beings'
自恋
bad
这些
life,
是不是？
bad habits
哎
are
所以
like
我们这样
countless.
的超级的这些
And
护法
so
能保护着
these
我们，
super
带着我
Dharma
们超
protectors
越这
will
一切的邪魔
protect
外
us
道。
and guide us
Eh,
to go
保护我们
beyond all these
超越
evil
六道轮
paths
回，
to
超越十道轮
surpass
回，
the
成为
6
最终的究
realms
竟涅槃。
and the samsara or the 10
这样
realms
都能让我们达到
to
最终的正果。
eventually
所以
get
我们
the
一个住
final
家一个公司
liberation.
那一点小平
So
安保护，那太
just
容易
to
了。
protect a home
就是这样。
or a family
共同
or
都有福，今
a
天
a
看见它都
company
是有
would
福。
be just super easy.
对，今天
Just
看到它你就不做噩
today,
梦。
just be
没
able
一
to
个
see
没一个邪情，没一个
these
鬼比它更残忍的。啊，就是
these
这样的。
images, you're
谁种
already
它，
very
它就保护
blessed.
谁。
Whoever make offerings to
那是不是
these
像这个
statues
今天这
would
个
she
小
would
可爱的
protect
这
you.
种小的玉的碧玺
And
可以
what
保护
about
还有
these
对小神
little
说他们是
jade
把玩的那个玉碧玺，他们也是，他们更适合
animals?
佩戴
Are
啊
they?
更方
I
便
think
这个
they
它
are
源自
very
于不是佛
suitable
教
for
哈，就是来自
as
于中国传统的
a
文化当中，
pendant.
古
So
代
they
那
are
个帝王
actually
哈
from the
请玉匠
Chinese
请买了好的玉，玉匠雕
culture.
刻了之
You
后，
know, the
因为当
emperors
时
would
帝王的需
invite
要
those
对，佩戴在
craftsmen
身上啊，放在这些的安
and
排
make
上啊，
them,
来
and so
辟
they would
邪，
either
来
wear
增
them
加
as
自
a
己的威
pendant
势。
or put on
因
their
为那个时候
table
医药
to
比较少，
dispel the
对不对？
evil
大家都
and
靠最原始和
increase their
灵感。
power.
在那个时
So
候的
at
医
that
疗啊，
time, they
几乎
don't
都
have
是
a
用
good medical
现在的这个
system.
巫师这个
And
概念。
so a lot of
都用
times
通
they
灵者。
use these wizards or
通灵的决定，哎，
psychics to
大王啊，
when
这
people are
块
get
玉
are sick.
是非
So
常好的，有
maybe
灵
someone
性。
say,
如果
"Oh,
把它雕成什么样的神兽，
Your
对
Majesty,
您
this
和您的孩子
this
有保
jade
护。
actually
啊，
is
哎，
very
那大王一听，好吧，
a
找玉
good
匠给我
one
雕了，
and will
多出
protect
点
you."
银子就好了。
And so the king
之
would
后，
say, "Okay,
巫
I'll
师
give
在
you
做
more
法，
money."
让他
And
的
then
童年。
the
看的是一
psychic
个
would
玉石
also
宝石的东西，
you know
但是就具有了
chant and
那
put
个神
some
兽的这个法力。
charm on it,
这些神
and
兽干
then
嘛
it
呢？
will have
专
some
治
Dharma
一切
power.
妖邪
So
鬼
this
怪。对，这个也是
this
啊，你那边挂的那一根
sacred
也是啊。不
animal
管我们
will
给它起的名字
eat
是什么，啊，
evil
叫饕餮
energy.
也好啊，还是叫什么也
Whether
好，
we
它
call
都
that
是在吃这
Tao
些
or
鬼
whatever
邪
name
之
we
气的
give
啊。
this animal is for eating the evil energy. If you hold it and nurture it, then he would protect you. You can put it on your table or wear it, and so his face should facing outwards. Yeah, if your boss always blame you, then you can put the head towards your boss. Yeah, so he would stop nagging you. So that will definitely help you. And yeah, so and also if you want prosperity, he would help you to absorb prosperity. Yeah. If you have too much evil energy, who can help you? This is like a very specific painkiller for you. And if you have that problem, then you need it. And we also have simpler ones, like the sudden red agates. And all these blessed gifts during this time, we made special blessings during this time. After a month of blessings, we will deliver them to you. What? Grandmaster, you will bless for a whole month? Wow. So for our online friends, yeah, we will first come, first serve. So these will be sold on a first come, first serve basis. And so thank you, Grandmaster, for blessing them for so long. Before, we have never gave blessings for so long. Yeah, not only the people who can receive these, just the people who, just the online friends who listen to the live stream, they share their stories, quite scary. And Grandmaster said, I received a lot of stories, very scary. Somebody's children, they cry, like the child would cry for 3 months, every single night. Oh my gosh, I have to help him. Yeah, so he told me the day before, and I helped him. Now today, the child has already stopped crying, and I said, okay, continue to grow merits, and then the child will not cry anymore. Sometimes adults cannot see, but the little child will be able to see, and it's very scary. You cannot see, but he's very scared. So so make more merits, and also offer those lights to calm the fire. A lot of times, because of the pandemic, you're all staying home, then you would quarrel. But I think you better chant more and respect each other. Whether you are older or younger, we should respect each other. When we have harmony at home, everything would be good. And I hope everybody would have compassion. Oh, a lot of our online friends are continuing to share their story. I'm not going to read them today. So today, the most important thing is for us to chant together, to help to pacify your spirit, and so that we can be calm and settled. And after the chanting, anyone who send emails or messages to me, we will print them out and burn them, which means we will remove all your bad karmas, hopefully, so that you can be safe and auspicious. Wow. Thank you so much, Grandmaster. All right, so let's get ready to chant.
Pantagulu peme siti hu 班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西的火，嗡啊呼。
好，各位朋友，那一会儿我们会继续再念哈。那等我们这个念佛快圆满的时候呢，就是这几天给我写信的这些朋友哈，这些我会把这个相关的这些文件就会把它烧毁它，希望借佛光法力哈，一个是我们这个所有的与这个给我写信相关的这些冤亲债主业主们呢，希望佛菩萨佛光普照护
will
佑
be shined by Buddha light and protected and blessed by Buddha light And so your heart, which has been wronged, will be soothed. And I would suggest you to go to either the Eastern Pure Land or the Western Pure Land, and do not, bother your, these people anymore. Yeah, otherwise it would be endless revenge, and Buddha and Bodhisattvas will protect you and bless you to go to the Pure Land, to enjoy in the Pure Land forever. So this is a very rare opportunity for you. So all of those people who wrote to me, we will help you to settle these issues. So at the end of the chanting, I will do that. And just now, somebody who wrote to us said there's a statue, the Southern Heavenly King of growth. So this, the heavenly kings, the universe was divided into 4 parts, and he's in charge of the southern part. And this is the original copy. And this is an antique, and Grandmaster is so compassionate and allowed this one to be sold. And this actually, this is from the Ming Dynasty, the middle of Ming Dynasty, the 16th century. At that time, this middle of Ming, there's some emperors asked some artists to paint it. So it is painted on a kind of silk. It's not painted on paper. And then in the Qing Dynasty, there are some people who actually framed it with a specific kind of paper, and then framed it, and it has huge blessing and power. And let's continue to chant most sincerely. If you're sincere, then Buddhas and Bodhisattvas will receive it. Oh, I need to read these names. Thank you for reminding me. Those of you who sent me the messages about the shadows. So Song Xu, Huai Dun, Song Jue, Wen Wan, Liang Jiu, Cang Liang, Guo Hui Qing, Nian Qia, Guo Jingbo, Zhu Rui, Lin Zhiqi, 毛探、念洽、杨洋、行群、贤梅、邓庆平、小英、天恒、张芳、慧平、丹坤、简单、田班、这段敦礼、宽始、张玲、达芳、矮昌、朱棣安、Sophia 杜、马芬、King 贪虐、贾汉森、阿元、WJ 金、王月、金月莲、金通、金法陀、东介，这里呢共41人。Altogether 41 of you. So just now when we were talking about these, we have a lot of our online friends who wrote on the live chat. That's also included. Next time when we chant and do the rituals, we will burn all of your stories too, and hope that your disasters will be removed and you will receive the blessings of Buddha light, and Buddhas and Bodhisattvas will help you to solve the problem so that you can be back to purity and peace. So let's continue to chant.
班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼。班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼。班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼。班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼。班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼。班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼。班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼。班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼。班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼。班达咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡啊呼，班达咕噜贝美西迪呼。 鲁贝美西地呼，嗡阿呼，班扎古鲁贝美西地呼，嗡阿呼，班扎古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达古鲁贝美 西的湖，嗡啊吽，班达咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽，班达咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽。班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽，班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽，班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽。嗡啊吽，班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽，班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽，班扎咕噜贝美西的湖。班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽，班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽，班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽。班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽，班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽，班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽。班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽，班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽，班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽。班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽，班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽，班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽。班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽，班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽，班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽。班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽，班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽，班扎咕噜贝美西的湖，嗡啊吽。班扎咕噜贝美西的湖。 啊呼，班扎咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡啊呼，班扎咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡啊呼，班扎咕噜贝美西地呼。嗡啊呼，班扎咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡啊呼，班扎咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡啊呼，班扎咕噜贝美西地呼。嗡啊呼，班扎咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡啊呼，班扎咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡啊呼，班扎咕噜贝美西地呼。
好，大家搓搓手，
All right, now rub your hands
轻轻搓搓脸，
and gently
再拍拍
rub your
头，
face and gently pat your head.
佛光普照，
Buddha
一
light
切烦恼、
shine
一切疾
on
病、一
all,
切邪魔
all
消失。
afflictions, illnesses, and
Om
evil
Ah
spirit
大家跟
disappear.
我一起说
Hong ah hong, follow me.
嗡
Hong ah hong.
嗡啊吼，嗡啊吼。好，
Hong ah hong.
刚才
All
呢
right.
我们已经将这个
So just
我们
now,
分享你的这种
those
梦
of
魇
you
故
who
事的朋
shared
友，
your
这些名单哈和故事已经都烧
nightmares
毁了
and
哈。
stories with
希
me,
望得到
we have already
佛菩萨
burned all of
来接
them.
引，
We
帮助我
hope
们解
that
决这
Buddhas
些
and Bodhisattvas
恩
will
怨怨的烦恼
guide
问题
those
啊。
disease
对，
and
感谢这
solve
嗯
all the grudges and clear them. And thank you, Grandmaster. Today, we talked a lot about these, sleep paralysis and nightmares, and guided us how to help ourselves, our family, our home, and most importantly is to repent and accumulate merits. Thank you, Grandmaster, for helping us. After listening all of these dreams, they're a little scary. And what I like most are the dreams that when they receive blessings from Grandmaster. I'd like to share a few with them. The first one is from Jessica Hansen, and she is from Malpit Center, and she wrote a very long dream, and she actually has come to Bodhi meditation not long ago, and she learned from Grandmaster and benefited a lot. And she wrote a lot of very auspicious things, and one of them is happened actually recently. So that was so in a dream, my family, my mother, father, son, and brother were sitting in a circle on the floor eating together. Grandmaster came, and I walked to Grandmaster and was slightly worried that my family should treat him with the utmost respect and accept him properly. I wanted Grandmaster to feel loved and respected. The next moment, my grandpa Louis appeared, who had passed away years ago. looking horrible. His shirt was soiled and his arms were out forward as though he was possessed. My dad approached me, worried, and asked if I would ask Grandmaster to help my grandfather, who had passed away. Because I wanted my dad to have a connection to Grandmaster, I told my father to ask Grandmaster himself, and he did. And my possessed grandpa tried to attack me, but I chanted extremely loud and over, "Oh, Mami Beme home." And Grandmaster stood behind my grandfather while I remained in front of him, chanting continuously. Grandmaster did signs of ritual and chant. Then Grandmaster grew really big, and all of a sudden, my grandfather Louis was released like tiny particles back into the cosmos, and the deed was done. He walked over to my dad and touched his cheek and told him not to eat after 8 p.m. at night. And Grandmaster showed me a digital clock as a confirmation to further the point of what he just said. Well, because he said not to eat after 8 p.m. And so I prostrated before Grandmaster and touched his feet with deep gratitude. My dad also put his hands together in prayer and bowed to Grandmaster. My son, so it's Jessica's son, now he's already in his 20s, but in the dream, he was still a small child. He poured very pure water over Grandmaster, and Grandmaster went into a peaceful state. I realized that this was between my son and Grandmaster, and something beautiful and peaceful was being done that I didn't need to be part of. I felt contented, and then the dream ended. Wow, this is very auspicious. So grateful. Grandmaster helped and released her grandfather, and also told her father how to, be healthy, to live long, and also established a good relationship, a connection with his son. Well, Grandmaster said, really, don't eat after 8 p.m. So I remind everyone not to eat too much for dinner, because the food will stuck in your stomach because you're not moving too much in the evening or at night, and too much food there can cause obesity and also can cause a lot of problems. And don't drink too much water because that can cause a big belly, and maybe your face would also swell, and even just a part of your face will swell, and then you would have to go to beauty salon. That would be too much trouble. So actually, in the past, Shakyamuni Buddha asked his disciples not to eat after noon. But I would ask you, if you haven't had dinner, you can eat after 8, but don't eat too much, and don't eat something that is very hard to digest. And I know some Western people, when their figures grow big, it's maybe because they have already worked very hard for a whole day, and they eat a lot, and then they drink some alcohol, and they didn't want to move, and so all these high calorie things, oil and food and fat, and then all accumulated on their belly, and then they need to do workout or something to lose weight. So that's why I say you need to limit your food in the evening. So Jessica is interested. So she is a Westerner, and she has a very good connection with Grandmaster. And Grandmaster, when Grandmaster was teaching the Earth Bodhisattva Sutra, she also volunteered to help with editing the whole sutra. Well, our Earth Bodhisattva Sutra is already coming to the final stage of completion. Yeah, very soon will be released. Any other story? stories to share? Yes, a Xiao Jia. He said the first time he dreamed of Master came to heal him, and quite a few other times he dreamed of Grandmaster and always searching for Grandmaster and look at Grandmaster from far away. And in April 2021, he dreamed of Grandmaster before he or she and her son had any argument. In a dream, Grandmaster's forehead was touching her forehead. And he cried in Master's arms, like crying so hard with pain. A few days later, she had an argument with her son. There was a voice asking her to ban the wall, but her feet cannot be moved, and so she wasn't in danger. And then she realized that it was because she dreamed of Grandmaster, and Grandmaster was protecting her. Otherwise, that time when she argued with her son, she would bang her head on the wall. And so thank you, Grandmaster, for saving her life. Well, actually, in the past, there were a lot of dreams like that and being protected. When they learn from me, they know that I can protect them and save them. He or she would say, "Oh, Grandmaster saved me," and sometimes they would say, Jimbodi, or Meditation Master Jimbodi, or something like that, and call me. And in the future, if you are scared or when you have the sleep paralysis, then you can call Master help me or Jimbodi help me. Then it might be effective. And whether the voice can be speak out and or it's just in your mind or your heart, then maybe that shadow will just be like a popcorn and disappear. And in so many previous lives, when we didn't know how many harm we have done, and even when we already learned Buddha Dharma, we still may not be able to completely avoid harming. And so sometimes there may be some not so auspicious things like a bad dream. And some people say, "Oh, I've already offered light. I already followed you for 2 years, and I listened to your class, and I even purchased some blessed gift. Why should I still have bad dreams?" Or, well, the bad things still have, maybe they are already being reduced. And for our so many previous lives, there was somebody, we mentioned someone in the last class, and his or her home were actually, especially they live on like killing animals. Maybe they kill sheep and sell the sheep fur and also the muttons, and also someone from Shandong province, his father kills donkeys, and well, they want to make a living on it, but killing is not good. So he and his mother always have nightmare, and his father also was not very healthy and almost had several times almost had stroke, and he didn't. Well, it's good that they did a lot of merits that so his father didn't die, but so they persuaded his father not to kill, but he said, "No, I have already, his whole life was killing," and so he just reduced some killing. And yes, sometimes, some people feel it's a habit, hard to change, but some people will just let go right away. I hope that you can stop doing the killing and find another career or another work that doesn't involve killing. And And so if you learn from me, if you believe in me, you can think of my image and call me to save you. As long as you think of me, think of my image or something, maybe I can give you some help. Well, if it's, maybe you have headache, and maybe in your dream, I will help you in your head, and maybe your whole life you won't have headache. That actually happened a lot. And my picture, sometimes some people put my picture over there to get rid of, evil energy. That was 30 years ago, and because of a lot of Dharma connections. So that's why sometimes maybe I cannot help you. That's why we invite these Dharma, heavenly kings or Dharma protectors, and sometimes maybe we just wear some blessed gift like a zi bead or maybe a bracelet or something to protect us. When it happens, it can be a disaster, so we try to avoid it. When you don't have any disaster, you think these are just a product, but when it has the blessings, maybe they will help you and protect you in the most dangerous time so that you can avoid those disasters. And so I believe in your bedroom, at the bedside, and also, the Kurukula goddess or Mahakala, Bodhisattva, and heavenly kings, they can be put in the bedroom. Well, the formal Buddha statues or pictures cannot be offered in the bedroom, but these can be offered in the bedroom. And I know that if you have some connection with a Buddha, then you will definitely be protected and blessed. And Joyce and Christine, you have anything else to say? All right. It's already this time. So all that we taught today, if you think that you haven't chanted enough, maybe later you can chant another half an hour or 1 hour. It will definitely help you. So tomorrow at the same time, we will have a different live stream waiting for you. I think that will have something to do with Bagua. Very touching stories. Very, very touching. I hope you will come here again. I wish you all health and happiness, auspiciousness, and wish fulfillment. And have a good dream. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, Grandmaster.
让我与您相遇，小小的红点里，人生就此欢喜。我快乐了，我健康了，我幸福了，我美丽了。在茫茫人海之中，让我与您相遇。小小的红点里，人生变得神奇。我智慧了，我宽容了，我慈悲了，我自在了。因为有了你，生命变得更坚定，不忧忧。因为有了你，日子不再有哭泣，不再有恐惧。我快乐了，我健康了，我幸福了，我美丽了， 小小的红点里，人生就此欢喜。我快乐了，我健康了，我幸福了，我美丽了。在茫茫人海之中，让我与你相遇。小小的红点里，人生。